Hi guys, it's Laura. Thanks for watching and welcome back to my channel. Today is my favorite type of project. I absolutely love makeovers, especially when it comes to fashion. We all know how horribly polluting fashion industry is for our planet. So whenever I have the possibility to give a piece a second life, a second chance, I'm always very excited about that. It helps to reduce waste a lot. And it's also fun usually. So today I will show you how I gave a maxi dress that I got from a friend a makeover and how I turned it into a very cute summer peasant dress. So if that's something you're interested in, then please keep watching. Let's have a look at the sketch of the original dress and at what is my plan for today. So the original dress is basically just a rectangle. It has a hole for the head on the top and a seam on each side that ends here below the armpits. And that is very convenient because it's basically not that much different from simply having a piece of fabric. And here we have what I want to make today. So I want to have a short peasant dress. So there's going to be an elastic band around the waist. There's going to be elastic band on the top and at the bottom of each sleeve. I want the dress to go a little bit below my hips, and then it's supposed to have a ruffle, and I want to edge the ruffle with lace. This time I will have it pretty easy because I actually already have a sewing pattern at home for exactly this type of dress that I want to make of the maxi dress. So it's a pattern from Burda magazine from the month May 2007, and as you can see from the sketch, it's a peasant dress that has 3 ruffles on the bottom. And I have already used this pattern, so I even know how long which ruffle is and where it ends. So I know for me it would work if I would use just this ruffle. And I will leave out the short one on the top because I wouldn't have enough fabric, and I leave out the bottom one completely because this is for me for the summer long enough. But if you do not have a pattern like that, if you do not have an access to any sewing patterns, I will explain now how to create a similar pattern just with a shirt pattern, or you could just copy an old shirt and create a pattern from that. So I have here a sketch of a shirt that goes a little bit in around the waist. So if you have a shirt like that at home, that would work too. If you don't have a shirt like that and you have a shirt that goes down straight, it's also fine. So what you want is to mark where the middle of the shirt is. And then also you want to decide how far would you want your peasant dress to go. Put the shirt on and put a pin somewhere here where you think, okay, that would be a good height of a peasant dress. And then you would basically copy the pattern of the shirt, or like use the pattern for the shirts that you made, and cut the pattern here on the top and also in the middle. And then this would be the front. This is what you would come up with. And let's say that the width of the top of this part is A. You want to make a rectangle that would be exactly that wide. And as you can see, you would put it in the middle of both sides of the front part. And this depends on how long you want your dress to be. If you want to have a short dress, then it's enough if the shirt ends around your hips. If you want your dress to be a little bit longer, then decide on how much longer. That would be the measurement B, and add a rectangle on each part, on each side of the front part. And then you would have to extend this middle rectangle accordingly. So that would be the front part. You would do exactly the same for the back part and also for the sleeves. So you would, when you put the shirt on and you marked how far the peasant dress should go, you also have to mark on the sleeves how far it should go, and then you would cut the pattern accordingly. So you would come up with pieces like this. Each sleeve has a little bit different like rounding or form on the back side and on the front side, and I always mark the front side with a little cut, so that's why these two are a little bit different. And again, you would measure the width of half of the sleeve, and that would be in this case C, and then you would create a rectangle that is wide C centimeters or inches or whatever measurement you're using. And then you would come up with this pattern for your peasant dress sleeve. Then the ruffle. The dress will be now wide D, and you want to create a round shape that will be here long D plus seam allowance. And then you decide on the length of your ruffle, and then you would measure at several places the measurement E, and then you would connect the dots, and there you have your ruffle. You will need seam allowances on the sides, and if you don't want to have a lace on the bottom, if you only want to fold the bottom edge in, then you need seam allowance here too. And what I also like doing once I'm done with the preparations and once I have sewn together the front side of the dress and the back side, maybe even the sleeves, I like folding it so that in the middle would be the side seams, and there we have the front and there we have the back. And I like to make the front just a little bit shorter than the back because I find it prettier, especially if you have a rounded butt. If the length would be the same, then your bum would lift the dress in the back, and then it would be a little bit shorter in the back than on the front, and that's the main reason why I like doing it. Plus I also like how it looks like, because I don't have really that round butt, but I still find that it looks better. So that's the concept of creating the pattern yourself if you don't already have a finished pattern for a peasant dress. Here we have all the dress parts and some other sewing supplies. So let's start on the top. So these are the front and the back part. Then I have here the sleeves, the ruffle for the bottom of the dress. I have here this beautiful beige lace that I want to use as an edging for the bottom of the ruffle. I have here this a little bit thicker elastic band. This one's gonna go for my waist, and a little bit thinner one, I will use that one for the top and for the bottom of the sleeves. And then I have here two threads. I will sew the entire dress with the blue thread, and I will use the beige one for the lace. And here on the bottom, I have a strip of fabric. This is something I will sew on the area where my waist is, because I need some kind of a tunnel through which I will be able to pull through the elastic for my waist. As a first step, I folded the bottom towards the waist marks, and I drew a line on both the front and the back part. Then I put both parts wrong sides up, and I pinned them together on one side. I have sewn this side together with straight stitch, and then I used zigzag for edging. Next, I placed the parts wrong side up, and I placed the long strip of fabric with the upper edge on the line that marked my waist. I pinned it in place. And then it looked like this, and I've sewn through the edge with a straight stitch. I placed my elastic band on the strip to determine the distance from the seam that I just made to the other edge of the strip of fabric so that it would still fit in. I folded the strip upwards and pinned it in place. The other edge of the strip of fabric was already edged, so I could simply sew it through with a straight stitch. If your strip of fabric would not have an edging on any side, you would always have to account for seam allowance on each side. Now that the strip was sewn around both edges, I had a tunnel for my elastic band. So next I pulled the elastic band through the tunnel. Once that was done, I pinned the front and the back part together on the other side. And I have sewn them together just like I did with the first side, with straight stitch first, and then for the edging I used a zigzag. As a next step, I pinned the sleeves together. I made marks for the front parts with a little cut, as I always do. And I also had to open a few stitches that were on the part of the dress that I used for the ruffle. Once I was done with that step, I pinned the sides of the ruffle together. I have sewn both the sides of the sleeves and the sides of the ruffle again with straight stitch, and I edged it with zigzag. Next, I pinned the sleeves in. I have sewn them on with straight stitch, and what a surprise, I did the edging again with zigzag. Also, I have sewn around the upper edge of the dress and the bottom edge of the sleeves with zigzag so that it wouldn't fray. And then I started folding the upper edge of the dress inwards, and I pinned it in place. One thing I always like doing is aligning several places and checking the width to make sure that the width of the fold would be everywhere the same. When I was done with the pinning, I have sewn through in 2 rows of a straight stitch. I left a small section of the bottom row open for the elastic band. On the sleeves, I folded the bottom edge also inwards. I have sewn through in 1 row of straight stitch, and I also left a small section open for the elastic band. As a next step, I pulled the elastic band through the bottom edge of the sleeves and also through the upper edge of the dress. I like pinning the end of the elastic band in place when I'm close to pulling it completely through. That way it can't get pulled in accidentally when I'm ruffling the fabric around the elastic band and working my way through. Here is what it looked like when the elastic bands were in place. I have sewn the ends of the elastic band together. And then I have sewn the open sections on both the upper edge of the dress and the bottom edge of the sleeves through. I have sewn through the waist elastic band at the side seam on the side where the band was pulled through and not sewn in. That always helps to prevent the band from twisting. Then I marked the middles on the front and the back bottom edges of the dress. I did the same with the ruffle, with the upper edge of the ruffle. I turned the ruffle to the wrong side and pulled it over the bottom of the dress that was right side up, and I pinned it in place. Here is what it looked like once it was pinned in place. I have sewn it on with a straight stitch, and I did the edging again with a zigzag. Here's what it looked like when the ruffle has been sewn on. And now there was only one step left, and that was to do the edging on the ruffle. For that, I took the beige lace and I pinned it to the bottom of the ruffle on the right side. I have sewn the lace on with stretch zigzag. You could also do it with 2 rows of straight stitch. And then my dress was finished. And that is it for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's makeover. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you with my next project. Bye!